Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Flyer Nation, our weekly look inside Lewis University athletics. I'm John Fitzgerald. It's the month of November, which means basketball season is upon us, and we will visit with Flyer head women's basketball coach Matt Nelson, as well as head men's basketball coach Scott Trost on this episode as both programs get set to tip off their campaigns later this week. And what a week it has been on the Lewis University campus as we take a look at the week that was in Flyer athletics, brought to you by the brand new Holiday Inn Express Lockport, located just minutes from the Lewis University campus on the southwest corner of 159th Street and 355. The nationally ranked men's and women's cross-country programs competed in the NCAA Division II Midwest Regional this past weekend. And after a couple of outstanding performances, both programs now advance to the Division II National Championships. The 11th ranked men placed second among the regional field in Evansville, and thanks to their top three finish, received an automatic bid to the national championship race. While the women, who currently ranked 15th in the nation, finished in 5th place this past weekend, and on Monday received an at-large bid to the NCAA championship. So for the first time in over 20 years, both the Flyer men and women will run for a national title in 2 weeks on November 20th down in St. Leo, Florida. The 20th ranked women's volleyball team continued to roll. The Flyers ran their winning streak to 7 straight with wins on the road over Truman State and Missouri St. Louis. Flyers currently sit atop the Great Lakes Valley Conference standings with a 15-1 mark in league play. Women's soccer dropped its quarterfinal round match at second-seeded Drury on Sunday by a final of 2-0. Chris Koenig's squad finishes their campaign at 9-6-2 on the year. While the men's team lost a heartbreaker, 1-0 in double overtime Sunday afternoon at Lewis Stadium, Evan Feifel's squad is now 11-4-3 in the campaign, and they will find out their postseason fate next Monday when the NCAA releases the 2021 tournament field. But as we mentioned, we're talking hoops today. And joining us, first-year head women's basketball coach Matt Nelson, whose club will open up the campaign on the road this weekend in Marquette, Michigan, as part of the GLVC GLIAC Challenge. Flyers will meet Michigan Tech on Saturday before a matchup with host Northern Michigan on Sunday afternoon. And Coach Nelson, outside of the excitement that goes along with a brand new season, I would think it's a bit more ramped up this year, being your first games on the sideline in the head coaching position.
Yeah, it's definitely a new experience moving 1 seat over. You know, the old line of like it's different moving 6 inches over. I think now it's 6 feet over because of COVID. So, but we got great experience. We played Wisconsin in a closed scrimmage, and then we got to play DePaul. So kind of easing into that experience, and it's really helpful that we have all of our team returning from last year, so it's making for a pretty easy transition.
Well, I was going to say that the nice option for you is the fact you have 14 returners coming back, some outstanding players, ton of firepower returning this year. So it is a difference in a new seat, but the fact of, did your outlook as far as those exhibition games at Wisconsin, at DePaul, did they have a little bit different framework this year just due to the fact that it was more of the same team coming back and integrating just a fewer pieces?
Yeah, I think that was the nice thing about our team and my situation was we could really pick up where we left off last year. You know, I thought we gained a ton of experience, and so now it's just taking that experience, taking what we did last year and building upon it this year. And the team has done a great job of just picking up where we left off.
How has the transition been from being an assistant coach now into the head coaching mold, both mentally and maybe even physically a little bit?
Mentally, it's pretty good. There are some, things that you never think about as an assistant coach that now as a head coach, you didn't realize you would have to take that over. But honestly, it's been a pretty good transition. We have a great group of assistants around us. We have a great department, so it's really easy to ask questions to them when I have a feel on a certain thing, and they can give feedback. And so with that, it's been really nice. I know I'm going to make mistakes along the way, but having the people around me that are going to help me, it's crucial.
We talked about the fact that 14 returners come back from a year ago, a season in which you guys won 13 ball games. Talk a little bit about some of the people who not only are returning and will still be in a prominent role, but some of the ones who you're expecting to come a little bit more in the forefront this year.
Yeah. So Jenna Badali was the freshman of the year in our conference last year, and she was second on our team in scoring. She's a huge piece of who we are. She's just a really tough player. We have Catherine Schmidt, who was second team all-conference last year. She's a big part of what we do. But a couple others that last year you're talking about taking that step. You have Taylor Galuza, who's making that ascension. Grace Hilber, who's a junior for us, has really had a strong preseason, strong exhibition games. We got a transfer in from Alaska Anchorage, Amelia Motz, who is just brings a toughness to us. And then just like we can go down the line with our whole team since we were so young last year, and we're still so young. We're still sophomores and juniors. We only have one senior, and she's a graduate senior. And so everyone from last year has made a jump, and the competition is just really good to see. You know, Kay Bartholofton has made a huge jump. Lily Courier, Lindsay Harrison. I think we can name everyone on our team. But I'm excited for those kids who, you know, proved last year they could do it, and now they're going to take another step.
Now you guys open up this weekend in the UP as part of the GLVC GLIAC Challenge, taking on Michigan Tech in Northern Michigan this weekend. This is a schedule that is not for the faint of heart that you have, both on the road and at home, with some big non-conference home matches, especially in November and December.
Yeah. You know, the previous coach, Sam, always used to say, hey, you know, if we want to be the best in the nation, we have to play the best in the nation. And as an assistant coach, it was really easy to sit there and be like, that's a great plan. You know, and then I took over, and it's like, you know, we're going to stick to that model. So I think we have the toughest conference and the non-conference schedule. I would say we're going to be top 5 in strength of schedule. You know, we play Drury twice, we play Truman twice. Last year, the regional was only 6 teams, and we play 5 of the 6 teams that were in the regional. You know, and Michigan Tech's a really great opponent. They're really well coached and great players. And then Northern Michigan is well coached. Like, they're always going to play a physical style of basketball. So, you know, for us and how I look at it, it's a little bit daunting, but at the same time, we're going to figure out who we are really, really quickly. You know, and I think we did that with DePaul. I think we did that with Wisconsin as well. We wanted to figure out our identity, and I feel like you figure it out through wins or losses against good opponents rather than just beating up on lower opponents.
The GLVC on an annual basis is by far far and away one of the top Division II conferences in the nation. You guys are picked to finish second now in the 3-division system over on the east side. Handicap a little bit kind of what you're looking at as far as looking ahead to the season from a conference play standpoint.
Yeah, so it really gets going in January. I mean, we have 2 games before the break, you know, and a good team in Indy and McHenry. But then immediately once we get back, we have 4 games in about 7 days, and they're against 3 of those teams that were picked first. So again, I feel that's where our non-conference schedule, because it's so tough, is going to prepare us for those moments. We're going to be really prepared. But I'm excited to play against Drury. I mean, they went to the national title game last year, and you could say that they got better. They got a couple transfers. So that's going to be really exciting to be in those games. Truman State is really well coached and has one of the best players in the nation in Hannah Bellinger. So those are key games. And then our team is just really excited, you know, to play Southern India again. They're excited to play everyone, especially in front of fans too. Like our sophomores have never had fans to play for. So they're just like chomping at the bit, ready to go for that.
And when you think about that aspect, it does go into not only the strength, how difficult the conference is from opponent to opponent, but protecting the home floor in a conference like this becomes almost more critical, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's something we really struggled with last year, is kind of this, we don't know why we play so well on the road, and then it's the home, we can't figure it out. You know, I think having fans back is really going to help that, but yeah, we have to protect the home court. You know, it's something we need to make sure that we're winning games that we should win and meet those expectations. And our group is ready for that. We talk about that pretty daily, about just ready for those expectations and meeting those expectations.
Well, Coach, best of luck this weekend up in the UP.
Thank you very much.
That's Lewis University head women's basketball coach Matt Nelson, whose Flyers will open the season this Saturday against Michigan Tech up in Marquette, Michigan. We'll sit down with Lewis men's head basketball coach Scott Trost as Flyer Nation continues right after this. Welcome back to Flyer Nation. We're now joined by the winningest head coach in Lewis University men's basketball history, Scott Trost. As the Flyers open their season this Friday inside Neil Carey Arena as part of the GLVC GLIAC Challenge, the men will tip off at 8 o'clock on Friday night against Northern Michigan before taking on Michigan Tech Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. Coach, year 16 at the helm of the Flyers, but as we talked about with Coach Nelson, it does have to be a little bit of a different feel this year. Fans are back, and there's a little bit more of a sense of normalcy heading into a basketball campaign.
There is, and I think our kids look forward to the normalcy, getting back in front of fans, and I know they're excited about playing Friday and Saturday against some really good teams, and I think we're getting sick of beating up on each other, and we're looking forward to a tough weekend.
Not only this weekend when you're taking on two GLIAC members, but throughout your non-conference portion of the campaign, it's really always a strong schedule for your program, and this year's no different.
We've never played cream puff schedule here, nor will we, and I think it's helped us. We've played I think maybe one NAI team, St. Francis, every year. And then the rest of it's a D2 schedule. And we've always done that. And I think it's benefited us down the road in the conference. And this year we play Northern Michigan, which has beat us 2 or 3 years in a row, or 2 or 3 times in a row. We play Michigan Tech, who is a regional finalist. We go to Wayne State, who was an NCAA tournament team. We go to Hillsdale, who's a top 10 team in the country. Then we go to Lake State, at Lake State, who lost to Oakland and Division I school here in an exhibition game, close game, on the road, tough. And then we come home with a GLVC team. So it's tough. It's a little bit scary, to be honest with you. But we'll find out where we're at, what we need to work on. It's a process, and hopefully it prepares us for what we think is one of the best conferences in the country, GLVC.
Well, you talk about the preparation that comes with playing a non-conference schedule like that, on top of what's already an incredibly difficult conference schedule. But there was no better proof of that than last year when you guys go in as the number 5 seed, I believe, and you end up winning the GLVC tournament to make your 6th NCAA tournament bid.
Yeah, I think there's a number of teams, and I think since I've been in this league, there used to be Bellarmine was a dominant team. Sometimes Southern Indiana has had a dominant team, maybe. Drury, when they won a national championship. But there's been one team that's kind of, I think, stood out above the rest. I'm not sure that's the case anymore. I think there's a bunch of really, really good teams that are capable of beating up on each other. And I think one year we were seeded 7th, we went to the championship game. Last year we were seeded, what did you say, 5th or 6th, whatever it was, and won the championship game. So, and along with that, I think the teams on the bottom are getting better. So I don't think there's any really poor teams. I don't know if there's a team, I guess maybe Truman has everybody back from an Elite 8 team last year, but there's a bunch of really, really good teams that are capable of beating anybody. And you have to come ready to play every single night. And the team that does that advances or wins. And that's the name of the game. We got to try and prepare to do that.
The parity does seem like it's been incredible in the GLVC, especially over the last couple of years, as far as the bottom tier teams annually getting a little bit better, a little bit stronger. But it's a taxing conference. The road trips aren't horribly short.
No.
You're playing on Thursday and Saturday, quick turnarounds. The opportunity to kind of coast or take a night off just really doesn't exist in this league, does it?
It doesn't exist. And I think the one thing, too, is depth plays a part of this. Got to avoid injuries. Got to be a little bit lucky. Senior leadership, I think, is important. So I think we have some of those things. But, again, to avoid injury and get lucky as we go here, we'll see. But it's a daunting challenge. And I think this league has over time shown it's the best, if not the best, one of the best in the country. And to win it, and we've been fortunate to do it with really good players, but to win it, you got to do the things I said. And I think the team we have is capable, but we'll see.
You talked about the personnel and the depth that you have. You've had some guys coming back who had outstanding years a year ago. Who are some of the guys that are really going to come to the forefront this winter?
Well, I think you look at our returners. Bruno Williams is really capable. He had a pretty good season last year. Great one-on-one player. Elevated his game from last year to this year. I think he's got to be a forefront for us. Connor Niego came in at semester last year, had a good season. So I think those two. Then we have Atakan Sahankaya, transfer. I hope I pronounced that right, AK. He's a transfer from Troy State. He came last year. I think got some great experience. Those three guys, Marquise Jackson, Draquan Bell has been here for 5. He's a graduate, or he's a fifth-year senior. So he's played a lot of meaningful games. So I think we're looking at, those are the nucleus, and then we've added some new guys too that expectations are high for them. They have to come in, contribute, impact our program, and we need them to speed up that learning curve.
You talk about expectations being high. This is a program under your leadership that has annually had outstanding success. 6 NCAA tournament bursts since you've been here, perennially 20 wins. As you look at this, obviously the laundry list of players that have come through this program, there's been some outstanding talent, but outstanding talent over a long-term process with a program doesn't necessarily equate to wins. What it is about your system or this program that differentiates that?
Well, I think what we've tried to do, John, is get tough, hard-nosed kids that buy in and work extremely hard. And we hang our hat on defense. And we've always said defense travels. And I think we've been fortunate to get those kids. Now, this whole thing has changed. The transfer portal has changed things.
Yep.
And, for, I would say, 12, 13 years, we've tried to do it with mainly high school kids. The last 3, 4 years, we've brought in a lot more transfers.
Sure.
That changes team dynamics, and getting those guys to kind of gel when they're not here for 4 years or 5 years changes things. So, and I think we're working through that as a team, as a program now. And you're going to have to re-recruit your team every year now. We lost arguably our best player from last year's team, went to a Division I school. We have a kid that's playing at the University of Utah that started here. We have a kid that's starting at the University of Southern Illinois that started here. Obviously, Max started here, is playing in the NBA. So we've had kids, and that's going to continue to be a trend. And I think you're naive if you don't understand that. So you're going to have to re-recruit your year, or re-recruit your team every year. But to get those guys to gel, you used to have high school kids. You had them for 4 years, didn't worry about it. That's not the way anymore.
And they were okay maybe the first year or so, biding their time on the bench, learning the system, being part of it because they knew they had upperclassmen ahead of them. That price has changed a little bit.
It's changed drastically. I think instant gratification.
Absolutely.
And, guys are looking at playing time, and we've recruited some guys with the idea that, hey, come here for a year or two and prove yourself, and if you do that, you'll have a chance to leave. And don't kid yourself. Division I schools look at all GLVC or whoever, and hey, let's see if we can maybe somehow indirectly contact those guys to see if there's interest. And that's happening, and I think we'll see. I guess that's a good problem. If you got that type of talent, then you're going to win some games. But it makes it hard from a recruiting standpoint to kind of know what your team's going to be like. We have one senior right now on our team. Will that roster be the same next year?
Right.
Minus the one senior?
So with an influx of players and obviously a little bit more of a revolving door of in and out over the past couple of years, and probably what's going to be the case in college basketball, at least for the not-so-distant future, what do you have to do in the fall to try to lock them in from a buy-in standpoint? If you had to change your approach as far as from the first day they set foot on campus, we need to try to do a lot more team activities to try to get these guys together.
Last year we didn't have any.
Right.
We didn't do anything last year. I mean, we had 4 or 5 practices before our first game, and we really couldn't do anything. So last year was out the window. This year, there's still some COVID restrictions and stuff. So but we've tried to do a little bit more team building and team bonding, and talked about some stuff yesterday, in fact. about getting guys to buy in and blame, complain, defend. I don't know if you've heard about that stuff, and above the line, below the line type stuff. And, so we've talked a little bit about that. But I think at the end of the day, if you can get your guys to pull together, play for each other, get over themselves, don't think about themselves, and constantly, daily talk about, hey, play for the guy next to you and don't worry about, the name on the back, play for the name on the front. We talk about it. That's easier said than done sometimes,
Absolutely.
But if you can get guys to do that, then you got a shot.
When we talk about the fact of the success that you've had in your tenure here so far on the Romeoville campus, what is kind of the quick elevator pitch you use when you're recruiting a student athlete that makes Lewis or separates Lewis amid kind of the competition?
Well, I think what we try and do is we talk about the league, sell our league, sell the people here. I think there's great people on Lewis's campus. We sell our staff, the success we've had. Now we sell, come here and play in a great league. You play well, may have an opportunity to move on if you so desire. But I think, ultimately at the end of the day, these kids are coming here for a variety of reasons, one of which is the coach and the program. And we do sell our success, but we try and identify guys that are going to buy in, bring a hard hat, play hard, and be a team player.
All right, Coach. Well, best of luck this weekend.
Right.
That's Lewis men's head basketball coach Scott Trost, whose Flyers will open up the 2021 campaign tomorrow night, 8 p.m. inside Neil Carey Arena. Stay with us. We'll preview the week ahead in Lewis athletics as Flyer Nation rolls on right after this timeout. Welcome back to Flyer Nation as we take a look ahead at what's on tap in Lewis University athletics. Our weekly preview is brought to you by Cheddar's Scratch Kitchen in Bolingbrook, located on the southwest corner of Remington Boulevard and Route 53. All Lewis University students, faculty, and staff will receive 10% off their order at Cheddar's with a valid Lewis University ID. Cheddar's Scratch Kitchen in Bolingbrook, a proud sponsor of Flyer Athletics. A busy week ahead for the Lewis Flyers, and it all kicks off tomorrow night as the men's basketball team tips off their campaign at home as part of the GLVC GLIAC Challenge. The men will host Northern Michigan on Friday night at 8 p.m. before taking on Michigan Tech Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Both games will take place inside Neil Carey Arena. The Red Hot women's volleyball team will put their 7-game winning streak on the line tomorrow night as they close out the regular season with a pair of road matches this weekend. The 20th ranked Flyers will visit McKendree on Friday night before traveling to Evansville on Saturday for a date with Southern Indiana. The Flyers head into the weekend at 15-1 in GLVC play. The women's bowling team heads to Nacogdoches, Texas to take part in the Lady Jack Classic at Stephen F. Austin University. The Flyers will open the 2-day event tomorrow afternoon. After a week off, the men's and women's swimming squads are back in action this Saturday. The Flyers will take part in a tri-meet at Hillsdale College, where they will do battle with both Hillsdale and Findlay University. And finally, as we mentioned, the women's basketball team heads to Marquette, Michigan this weekend for a pair of contests against GLIAC opponents. The Flyers will take on Michigan Tech Saturday morning at 10 a.m. before meeting host Northern Michigan for a Sunday matinee at 1:15. Don't forget, stay up to date with the latest in Lewis University Flyer athletics at lewisflyers.com and on Twitter at lewisflyers. That'll do it for us this week. I would like to thank Flyer head basketball coaches Matt Nelson and Scott Trost for being our guests. For our executive producer John Kilpatrick and our entire Flyer Nation crew, this is John Fitzgerald. We'll see you next week, right here on Flyer Nation.